Miss Koi Koi, the haunting spirit of Blackwood University. The birth of a legend. Long ago, before Blackwood University became one of Nigeria's most prestigious campuses, it was once a girls' secondary school. Among the teachers was a woman known as Madam Koi Koi, a strict but beautiful woman who always wore high-heeled shoes that clicked loudly with every step she took. Koi Koi. Koi Koi. She was feared by students, not just for her strictness, but for her cruel punishments. Any student who misbehaved felt the sting of her cane, and some even whispered that she enjoyed their pain. One day, a group of rebellious students plotted against her. During a late-night riot, they locked her inside a classroom and set the building on fire. Madam Koi Koi screamed for help, banging on the doors, her high heels clicking against the floor. But no one came. The flames swallowed the room, and as she burned, her last words echoed. "You will hear my footsteps in the night. I will return." Years passed, and the school was transformed into a university. The tragic story of Madam Koi Koi became nothing more than a forgotten rumor. But soon, students began to disappear mysteriously. At first, no one paid attention. But then, the survivors started talking. At night, when the lights go out, if your room is dark, you will hear the footsteps, Koi Koi. Koi Koi, and then, you will never wake up. The legend of Miss Koi Koi was reborn. Tond, a 200-level engineering student, laughed whenever people talked about Miss Koi Koi. "There is no such thing as ghosts," he told his roommate, Connor. One fateful night, there was a power outage on campus. The entire hostel went dark. Students lit candles and used their phone flashlights. But Tond, feeling brave, decided he would sleep in the darkness. Connor begged him, "Tond, please, put on your flashlight. What if the stories are true?" Tond laughed. "Ghosts don't exist, my guy. Sleep." As the night deepened, silence filled the hostel. Then, just past 3 a.m., Tond woke up to a sound. Koi Koi. Koi Koi. The slow, clicking footsteps echoed down the hallway, growing closer with each step. Tond's heart pounded. Koi Koi. Koi Koi. Connor, who had left his flashlight on, held his breath. Through the dim light, he saw a tall woman in a red dress glide past their room, her heels clicking against the tiled floor. She stopped at Tond's door. Koi Koi. The handle twisted. Tond, paralyzed with fear, reached for his phone, but the battery was dead. The door creaked open. A cold breeze filled the room, and there she stood, Miss Koi Koi. Her face was burned, twisted in a terrifying grin. Her eyes, deep black voids, stared at him. "You do not fear me," she whispered. Tond tried to scream, but his voice failed him. He tried to move, but his body was frozen. Miss Koi Koi raised her sharp fingers and touched his forehead. Darkness swallowed him. By morning, Tond was dead. His face frozen in a silent scream, his body cold as ice. After Tond's death, fear spread across Blackwood University. The vice-chancellor tried to calm the students, calling it a natural death. But the students knew better. Hostel leaders set new rules. 1. Always leave your lights on at night. 2. If you hear footsteps, do not move. 3. Never open the door after 3 a.m. But some students were stubborn. They thought it was all a joke until more bodies were found. Each one died the same way, a frozen face of terror, a single red scratch on their forehead. The school hired pastors, imams, and native doctors to cleanse the hostel, but nothing worked. Miss Koi Koi was here to stay. Desperate, the students sought out Mama Ijaim, an old woman who had worked in the school since it was a girls' secondary school. She shook her head when she heard their fears. "You cannot stop Miss Koi Koi, but you can appease her." "How?" the students asked. "Find her shoes." Legend had it that before she died, Miss Koi Koi's red high heels had been buried under the old classroom building where she was burned. If they could retrieve them and perform a ritual, her spirit would be at peace. That night, a group of brave students, armed with torches and prayers, dug beneath the ruins of the old building. After hours of digging, they found them, a pair of red high heels, untouched by time. Suddenly, the air grew thick. The ground shook. A whisper filled the night. You have found them, but it is too late. A cold wind extinguished their torches. The next morning, the students were gone. Not dead. Not alive. Just gone. The university shut down the hostel and declared it haunted. Even today, students swear that on dark nights, when the power goes out, you can still hear the footsteps, koi koi. Koi koi. And if your room is dark, she might come for you next. Moral of the story. Some legends are real. Ignore them at your own risk. Arrogance in the face of danger leads to destruction. Not all spirits can be banished. Some are meant to roam forever. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.